Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Lauren Hardy and I'm your wholesaling coach. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why I started a virtual wholesaling coaching program. For anybody that really knows me, they would tell you that I am a straight shooter. And in this video, I am going to deep dive into how my coaching program got created and why I did it in the first place. I'm going to share with you what I went through when I started virtual wholesaling. And I'm going to get into the things that I noticed about the other coaching programs that I bought into when I was still a newbie. I'm also going to share a little secret with you. I never intended on being a coach, but I'm going to also share what happened after I started coaching, and it was pretty cool. So let's get into it. Let me share with you what happened when I first decided to take my wholesaling business virtually. When I started house flipping and wholesaling, I was getting coaching programs from other educators who were not based in my market. In fact, they weren't based in a market that was nearly as competitive as mine. So it started to feel like I was doing something wrong. I was in Orange County, California, one of the most competitive markets in the entire United States. The coaches and educators were typically in markets that were not as competitive, and they were closing hundreds of deals a year with ease. I was doing exactly what they said to do. I did not deviate at all, and I was working so hard, harder than it seemed like they were working. But I still was not closing nearly the same amount of deals that they were. And I had a lot of inconsistencies in my business because of the highly competitive nature of the market that I was in, which was Orange County. I was also marketing in LA, Riverside County, San Bernardino County as well. It was just very, very difficult. I was very confused. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. But after a while, I realized that it had to be my market, because when I compared the numbers, they were in markets where prices were just cheaper and there was more seller distress. The sellers were easier to convince to take a discount on their home than a seller in Southern California who owns an $800,000 house. When I would approach these coaches and share with them what was going on, they were giving me really bad advice, and it was because they still just did not understand my market. They were giving me advice like, send more mail, work harder, you must be doing something wrong. I mean, their advice was actually wasting my money. The advice of send more mail was probably the worst, because then I just ended up wasting a bunch of marketing dollars. It was crazy. I started getting the suspicion that I needed to go to another market because I actually noticed other people were doing it as well in my area. But again, with the bad advice, I even had a mentor tell me that the idea of going virtual is a shiny object and I'll never be able to make it work and it's a total distraction. Now I laugh, right? Because in reality, if I didn't go virtual, I probably would be working a full-time job right now. So I started looking for another coach. I wanted to find a virtual wholesaling or virtual house flipping coaching program, but I couldn't find anything. And the little bit that I did find, it wasn't really a real full coaching program. It was more of like a teaser course. So I was really at a loss, and it was really hard to find anybody that was successfully virtually investing at scale to teach me. When I did a lot of research in other coaching programs that specified in virtual real estate investing, I noticed that the coaching programs were not very comprehensive. They weren't giving you the whole process A to Z. I was even curious if the coaches were even doing the business because they weren't sharing enough. They weren't really an open book. So in the end, my first virtual coaching program wasn't really a coaching program at all. Instead, I just networked a lot with other people I knew that were doing it. And we kind of just put our heads together and just shared our stories and experiences and learned from each other. So here's the secret. I never actually intended on being a coach. Here's what really happened. I went on a podcast. I was featured on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, and I was sharing that I had just closed 55 deals in a virtual market. I told my entire story, and I guess a lot of viewers really resonated with it. There were a lot of people in Southern California or Miami or Seattle, expensive markets, And they were so frustrated because they felt like they couldn't do this business. So the episode did really well. It got a lot of attention. It got a lot of, yeah, me too, I feel it, And what ended up happening was my good friend, Brent Daniels, who you guys might know, check him out on YouTube. He's awesome. He suggested, maybe you can put like a little course together to help people because this is a need. He was a coach at the time and he knew that there were students that wanted to learn how to go virtual, but he wasn't virtual and there was no virtual coach on the platform. So I did exactly that. And I didn't really know what would come about it, but I put the course together. And what I did when I was putting that course together was I just thought of every mistake I made in the last 4 years. And I thought, gosh, if somebody could just tell me this, what could save me 4 years of learning? So I just started writing down every mistake. And I put those mistakes into categories that now I call modules. So the course is 11 modules, and I joke around that it's 11 modules of mistakes I made in 4 years, but it's me showing you how I overcame those mistakes. What ended up happening was the owner of Wholesaling Inc. found out about the program that I put together. He liked my energy, and he knew that there was a need. Hands down, there was a huge need. If you're listening to this right now and you resonate, you are not alone, that there are a lot of markets out there that are just so competitive that it doesn't really make sense to try to do this business in them. It makes more sense to go to another market. If you feel like that is your market, put it in the comment box. I will look through them and let you know if I know anything about your market. But anyway, so what ended up happening, we put the course together. Tom, the owner of Wholesaling Inc., gave me 3 students to beta test and see if I could get them deals. And I did. I coached them for free, and I proved, to myself even, that I can help someone get their first deals virtually. It was an amazing feeling to be able to do that. I felt very, humbled that they would come to me and trust my words. And quite surprised that they ended up doing really well because I'd never done anything like that before. What happened after coaching those 3 students is we went live with the program, Virtual Investing Mastery. And the program did really good because we figured out that this is a huge need. There are a lot of people whose markets have gotten too saturated with wholesalers and house flippers. So they needed to figure out how to go to a different market. And my program helped them do just that. I've had tons of successful students out of the program. And if you are interested in this program, you can actually see some of my student testimonials. If you go to virtualinvestingmastery.com, at the bottom, there's a ton of students that I've worked with personally that have been very successful after doing my coaching. The more deals that got closed with my student base, the more confident I got in myself as a coach. I even started learning the different types of students and their personality types and how I could motivate each personality type, which is really fun for me. After working with so many students, I realized that fear and skepticism was the number one thing that stopped most people from wholesaling virtually. They just don't think that they can do it or that they should do it or it's even possible. So when you have someone like me motivating you and telling you it's possible and you're seeing me do it successfully, it is highly motivating. So I think that's why my program has been, very successful in helping students do their first virtual deals. Another thing is that I do really care if my students succeed. Honestly, it does keep me up at night. I need to know that my program worked for them. The more I share what I'm doing in my personal business, the more the students can take that information and they apply it to theirs and then they succeed. I'm a complete open book in my coaching program, and I've found that that is why I have so many students that are doing really well. If you want to watch a video about what my coaching program actually entails, I put a link at the show notes of a video that goes into everything that my coaching program gets into so you can get familiar. And if you are looking for a program to learn virtual wholesaling, check it out. Again, virtualinvestingmastery.com. That's the program. I also have a free mini course. You can get a little taste of it. Go to laurenhardyco.com. That's www.laurenhardyco.com. Everything's in the notes. I hope you like this video. Please comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.